Junk Car Willie here with the ECTA Motorsports Spring Fling. We got Iron Dinosaur Racing out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Liz Leggett, the famous Liz Leggett. I'm filming, them filming, and Jim Leggett. Jim Leggett Media, big name. Check him out.
Hey everybody, so my name is Liz Leggett, and I'm one of the pilots / drivers of the Iron Dinosaur. So this is a land speed car. Land speed racing takes place at many different venues. Today we're actually at the Arkansas Spring Fling, and so this is on an air base. This car is built also to race at the Bonneville Salt Flats. So this is the newer engine. This car was built, I think it was 2011 was the original iteration, 2010. So this actually originally started off as a belly tank car. A belly tanker was much smaller. So the actual frame of the belly tank, you can see it still inside. It grew into, this is a D-Class, so D-Class blown fuel Lakester. So a Lakester is similar to a Streamliner, but a Streamliner has enclosed wheels. So this car has a dart, it's a dart block, it's an LS style dart block engine. It's a 302. So this is how we cool the engine. So that's the intercooler side for the turbos, because she has twin turbos. They each put out, so together they put out 40 pounds of boost. So you need to cool that. So this is the engine cooling side. So this is pretty much a water to water cooling. It's not like a air to water like the intercooler. So pretty much the water gets circulated. We fill here with ice as well as here with ice, and it circulates through the engine block through this. So then you have to have, of course, the two twin turbos. We're running C85 alcohol. So it's an alcohol mixture. We're not running gasoline or nitro. We're running alcohol. This tank is 13 gallons, and this fuel pump will pump 7 gallons of fuel a minute. So technically we can drain that in 2 minutes, which is pretty crazy. So we have parachutes to stop, because the previous record that this car attained with the older engine, I believe it was a record, they hit up to 224, I believe it was. So the record they're going for is like over 300. So we're going for it, sorry. But that's when I joined the team about 5 or 6 years ago. I started off as the team photographer, and I got the opportunity to be one of the drivers. But these parachutes, you really need them for at Bonneville. This one up here is 75 feet long, and this parachute here is 50 feet long. So the way it works is there's a lever in the front that I can show you. So when you pull the lever up front, it pulls these pins back, and these are your pilot chutes. So these pilot chutes fall out, drag, and then pull these little pins, and then the main chute gets pulled. So we have two chutes. You don't necessarily need both chutes when you're running a place like this, but I'm practicing for Bonneville, so when I'm here I pull the chutes. Not both of them, because then you have to pack them both. Just pull what you need. But the pull, the G-forces, when you pull them, it really slows you down, which is nice. So this is the intercooler side of the car. So of course you have the air from coming in from the air box. We have a Corvette filter laid down in here, so that when the air comes in through the bodywork, it goes through here, so no salt or dust goes through. Because if dust goes through, it will actually, with the heat, it will turn to glass on the surface of the pistons. It's the whole thing when you're going really fast in desert environments. So anyway, you have clean air going into your turbos. Then it goes out, the air is like pressurized, and it's really hot, really hot, which is not good. So you bring it back here into this coolant tank, which is a air to water cooling, unlike the other side. So this brings the air through here, cools it with the water, and then brings it back and pumps it back into the turbos. So it's all cooling and trying to mitigate heat, because it's not like drag racing where you're going like 300 miles an hour in an 1/8 mile. We're trying to go, 300 miles an hour in 5 miles, 4 or 5 miles. So it's the sustained, that you're trying to sustain this power over a long space and be able to attain it without blowing up, because you need to do a return run. Because at Bonneville, the way a land speed record works is you have to go and do the speed over the record, then you have to go through tech, and then you have to do it again and do a return run. And if you do your return run also over the previous record speed, then they take your 2 speeds of your 2 runs and they average it, and that's your current record. So if you can't do a return run, if something breaks, famous example was with Mickey Thompson. He was at the Challenger, right? And he went super fast but couldn't do the return run, so he never actually officially got the record. So that's happened to many racers, which is like a really tough thing about land speed racing, but that's just an interesting aspect about it. So yeah, we also have an alternator, so we can start the car, just turn, kind of flip of a switch. So I'll show you inside here, the cockpit, which is actually a lot larger than you'd think. I'll come around to the other side. So the cockpit, you have a roll cage, of course, with there's very specific specifications, like where these have to be in orientation with the helmet and bumpers, and there's so many safeties built in with land speed racing. Like you have to pass tech, and everything's SFI rated. So it's one of those things that you need to have the right gear. So these levers here, when the canopy is down, these levers release. You can see there's like a cantilever system. It moves this and that latches down the canopy. So that's how I get out, is when you're sitting in there and you finish your run, you grab both of those, you pull them towards you, and push up, and the canopy cantilevers up off of you. So in here you have several toggle switches, like your master power, your fuel. Then there's the ice system. So you have your intake side and your engine side. Just like I showed, there's those 2 tanks. They're separate systems. So they're run separately, like at the same time, like you run them at the same time, but they each have their own power system. And then that's your master start. These 2 pull tabs here, those are your fire bottles. So these over here, this is removable steering wheel, so it's easy to get in and out. We use the Holley EFI system. Blake with Avid Speed, he's our tuner. He's out of Alabama. He's one of the best that I've ever met, which is really cool. We have James Burgess and his father Jim, who are fabricators, and of course Don Gilmore, who is the main driver and owner of this car. And I can't explain how fortunate and how happy and lucky I am to be able to have this opportunity to drive something like this. I've been an automotive photojournalist since I was about 11, 12 years old, probably 10. Started with my dad, and you're always that guy, and you're always filming and photographing cars, and you always want to know what it's like, but to actually be able to have that opportunity, it's all thanks to Don, and I really can't even explain. So one of the other interesting things that you might see with this car is you need to be as aerodynamic as possible. This car has been tested in the wind tunnel. I think it was 1.8 or something like that, was 0.18, sorry, was the number that this car attained, its sleekest ever. This is a very interesting aspect, because here it's where your wheel is, but this all moves with the car, so, or when you turn. So I'll put that together and I'll show you what that looks like. And that's to not have any aerodynamics. You don't want air catching in there. So there's so much clever engineering and so many interesting little bits of physics and math and all these things that are just fascinating. For suspension, she's a low car. I think we have about 1 inch of clearance. So you've got, of course, your rubber bumpers here are really this, and these little shocks. That's what you got for like your suspension and whatnot. So it's when you hit a bump, you know you hit a bump, but you need to be low to the ground, because that really affects the aerodynamics of the vehicle, especially one like this. So you want to try to be as slippery as possible, and of course the whole concept of opening up the air and then closing the air smoothly. That's, it's like seeing a Blackbird airplane. They're just these pancakes that start sharp and end sharp. I love all kinds of machines, so I think this is a bit of a rocket ship in her own right. So these are the fire bottles. They're plumbed from the front all the way to the back. They're operated by those 2 poles. And yeah, that's the Iron Dinosaur. So I'm very fortunate to drive this car. I drove it here this weekend. I got 2 runs in. We were having a few mechanical issues with the shifter, so we're going to figure that out. And it's all preparation for Bonneville. So I'll be seeing you guys out at Bonneville 2024, and that's in August. So I'll be out with the team then, and in between now and then, I'm going to be doing all kinds of fun stuff like informal drag racing and circle track racing and all kinds of adventures. So I would like to thank you so very much for being with us and checking our stuff out, and I would love if you would follow us on this adventure. So thank you so very much. Oh, follow Junk Car Willie.
Liz Leggett Photography, Jim Leggett Media. I'm telling you guys, this woman travels, they travel, and she's part of things. She just don't film it, she is part of it. The racing, she's got this adventure that she's testing for next weekend. What's it called?
Oh, that's the Lucky Devil Hell Drivers.
Yeah.
So
tell me a little about that, if you can.
They're out of Pennsylvania. It's EJ Kowalski. He does all kind of, it's old school, like Joey Chitwood style hell driving, which was when you used to do stunts with cars. He's going to be doing an event next weekend, so I'm going to be one of the assistants, because I'm going to be hopefully a hell driver in training.
That's like jumping through fire and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, what they used to do is they would do things with like 1950s Fords or 40s Fords, that era of car. And he actually drives, don't call me, I think it's a 1914 Indian, but he rides an Indian, and he rides it through a wall of fire, and does the human battering ram where he's up on top of the hood, and there's another wall of fire, and they drive through that, and then they do high ski where you're,
up on two wheels. Wow.
And all these different amazing things. So
I'll be watching it. I'll share everything you got on my channel. But instead of doing that, go straight there to her. I mean, she's got enough content to keep you busy for a year before you even started watching her modern, your up-to-date content.
Yeah, I'm fortunate to do.
She's a great person.
Trains, land speed racing in general, like drag racing. I help restore the Pure Hell Funny Car, so there's some NHR drag racing stuff. And then if you're into older stuff, I also am a steam locomotive operator, so I run trains.
Anything mechanical, huh?
Anything mechanical. I say if it's loud, noisy, and dirty, and if it fires up, it makes small children cry, then it's probably cool.
I expect big things from you. I can't even think where you're going to be at in 5 years, because it's going to be on. All I ask is remember the little guy, Junk Car Willie, and make sure I come along for the ride, okay?
You're giving me a patch to put on my fire, so you're going to be riding with me.
Okay, that's right. She's going to be wearing a Junk Car Willie patch. I'm getting ready to go pick it up.
Thank you
so very much. Just like that.
I'm so thankful for that. It's going right on my fire suit.
That's great.
So thank you.
As always, guys, it'd be a boring world if we's all the same. Liz Leggett is not the same. Keep being you.